Okay, what camera
She's
am
doing
I?
the whole
Am I looking at?
Netflix.
This
Front.
one?
It's live.
Welcome to our Netflix documentary here at WMB1 Radio. We're here to give everybody updates on what we have going on, upcoming events, what just happened today, and just to kind of let you all see our wonderful faces. So I'll go through the room. Let's introduce everybody. This is Steve here. You guys know him. He is our booking agent and also handles all of the majority of our promoting for the radio station, amongst other things. He's our right arm. This is Diana. You know her from the lovely ladies of Luxury Tax. Diana's joining us this afternoon. We also have a special guest in the room, Vaughn Marie, who is representing the South Coast Hispanic Chamber. We'll get into that in a few minutes. You all know my lovely sister Xiomara, also one of the ladies of Luxury Tax, and the incomparable Gemelin Soares, creative consultant for the station, amongst community liaison and a whole bunch of other things that she does all around entrepreneur.
What's up, y'all?
And then we got Brian in the back.
Yeah.
So we're here. We're here. So to let everybody know exactly what has been going on, we have a bunch of upcoming events that have happened. We'll get into the events that just passed that weren't necessarily ours, but we were able to partake to some degree. Jamelin Soares will talk a little bit more about that. It was just a great event. But today we had the honor of participating in the South Coast Hispanic Chamber collaboration along with the Cranberry Country Chamber at Merrill's on the waterfront. And it was I thought it was a great networking event for businesses, anybody who works in an office, all just across the board. It was really an intimate event. It was enough people there where you could actually have conversations with people and get to know them and what they do and everything like that. And I really am elated. I've gone to many networking events before, and a lot of times it can be really overwhelming because there's so many people there. There's a lot of things going on at once. But it was nice to just be able to sit with people, talk to people, eat with them, share a drink, or you know what I mean? It was nice. I don't know. Steve, what'd you think?
I thought it was a good way to meet people that we don't see in the community, but are very pertinent and important people in the community that we might want to network in the future. So I hear people's names, but putting a face to them, it was nice to get to meet some people that, that we look forward to working with later on. Just and just the camaraderie. Everybody was so friendly. Everybody was so
nice,
willing to find out what we did before they even told us what they did.
Yeah.
So
I think they were excited to see us there. Everybody was like, "Oh,
we were the new ones."
Station. Yeah, we were definitely the new ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they knew. Oh, radio station. Okay.
Yeah, then they came right over, and I thought that was really cool. It was really cool to be able to meet people. The gentleman from the bank.
Yes,
that was cool.
Yes.
And these are the things I think that we can get out there. We can get the information out there, and this is why partnering with WMB1 to me is such a vital part of community, because the information doesn't typically get to where it needs to get to. And so when you talk about different funding sources for different things, right, there's tons of entrepreneurs, right, in this area. And this area is made up of small businesses. And so when you're able to meet people who have the resources and the information for you to be able to be successful, or even just to start up, and you think about the financial literacy of everything and what you really need to understand, the funding, where it comes from, grants, all different kinds of private funding sources that you can utilize, it's so important. And I think that's why it was good that we were there.
Yeah.
Because we could be that information outlet to get that out,
Not only did I like that, it was providing us with additional we may need as an entity, but also they had South Coast hospitals there, was it? I believe.
Yeah.
And just to have that resource and then tie in to the audience is also, very useful. So it really covers a lot of bases to be able to attend. And plus on a personal level, sometimes you may just come across a service or two that's needed. So You know, shout out to Vaughn Marie at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Cranberry Chamber. Job well done, intimate, small, but definitely effective. So
Yeah.
And one of the things when you just brought up with that South Coast that resonated with me was they didn't seem like they just talk to talk. I remember them specifically saying, we put aside a certain percentage of our profits to give back to our community.
Yeah.
So they don't just
Yes.
talk about it.
No.
It's something you can tell they genuinely
Yeah.
want to do.
right.
So, you know, bravo to them. Like they're conscious enough to think, you know, we have to serve our community in a multitude of ways, and we're going to put money aside just to
Yeah.
uplift and
Yeah.
further develop.
Yeah, a
other
lot of
people.
entities now are working that straight into their strategic plans for the next
Yes.
several years,
Absolutely.
because we are in hard times. And I think everybody's coming to really realize that and utilize the power of partnership. You know, we used to be in an era of crabs in a barrel and a grant goes out and everybody wants that same money, but far more effective when you're able to partner with somebody and utilize your strengths to again service oftentimes the same population of people. So yeah, today was cool. This afternoon was cool.
Yeah, so this was actually the second time we've done it. We've partnered with Valerie, who's the CEO of the Cranberry Chamber, and Pam, who's the business development manager. They're really great. So they had approached me last year and they wanted to do something to kind of in a joined
Mhm.
event. So this year was really great because there was a lot of new faces.
Yeah.
We got a lot of our people here connected, which was great. And it's I use this as like a bridge from the Latino and the minority owned small businesses, a bridge to other people. And I said this today to other people that otherwise might not know who we are. They don't know our culture. They don't know what we do. And so it gives them an experience. So I think that's why they're always very excited to talk to us, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. There was a woman who I went to Sunday school with, Tanya Dutra. And it was, as soon as I saw her face, I knew. I said, "Oh my God, how you doing? How you doing?" So I'm good, good. She owns a HR consulting company, and what she does is she helps small businesses with their HR needs. So, you know, and if anybody has worked in an office, you understand the value in somebody who is well educated in HR duties and responsibilities, because it can save your business. And it was nice to be able to connect with somebody, and I'll be calling her because she has resources that we could utilize in my office. And you know, that's why these things are important, right? You can't, small businesses, we can't afford to spend 30 grand on an HR, you know what I mean, department and things like that. So a lot of us wear multiple hats, right? Like Xiomara handles HR. She's the vice president for all of the companies. She handles all of the employee, you know what I mean, issues and everything like that. She's wearing multiple hats. So to be able to tap into a resource every so often for that information is great. It's great for information that costs tons of money if you were to have it in-house, you know. It's
And that's one of the reasons. Sorry, Jamie.
No, go right ahead.
So that was one of the reasons why I started talking about wanting to get out of the traditional chamber model, because the traditional chamber model is usually, you know, referral, you do networking, and it's kind of like an ecosystem that way. It's not for the Latino and the minority owned small businesses, is not always like that. So we need more resources. A lot of the times when I'm out, especially in Acushnet Ave, you know, I love my taqueria, La Raza, you know, ladies. Shout out to them. So a lot of the times, you know, they're locked out of their business Facebook account. You know, can you come and help me with that? They need marketing needs, but they don't have a ton of money to pour into marketing, you know. So kind of consulting, helping them come up with strategies and ways that they can do it. That's kind of the model that I want to head into. So
yeah, that was the point I was going to make, actually, Vaughn Marie, is that outside of HR needs and not having those resources and finances to be able to get that intact, marketing, I know when I worked with a lot of businesses under the chamber at one point, that was nobody has budget for marketing. And I think that's what really attracted people to the radio station being in the house, was that we are an internet-based radio station that's able to get out to a lot of different corners of places. And that attracted people to say, wait a minute, we could do advertising. You have a morning show, you have podcasts, you have community events you're out there doing. Because once the luncheon was over, we did get a lot of people to come and approach the table, and I think that was really an attractive piece to what a radio station has the ability to do. So marketing's big for people, but the budget is often not present.
Talk your shit,
It's not
because
present.
it's so true. I feel like it's one of those things where we struggle with, right? And for a while, like we run a CDL school, and for a good while we were paying Comcast before they were called Xfinity. We were paying, and we were with Town Square Media, and
Remember that?
phone and Town Square. I did not have. They might work for some people. I did not have the greatest experience with them, but if we were pouring in tons of money, and we were not getting the type of return that we needed. And what we've always known, especially with our driving school, is it's word of mouth. I mean, we're a smaller school than most of the CDL schools. We've been around for a very long time, since the early 90s. A lot of our stuff is word of mouth. So goes the small business story. A lot of it is word of mouth. The La Raza Taqueria, right? Where like, oh, people like, we've been there. We've been there. This bomb food is delicious. It's not. It's all
the other day.
Yeah, it's all word of mouth. Yeah,
Tuesday.
all of it is word of mouth. So I think that's where the radio station sits in this really sweet spot, because we're not a huge conglomerate. We don't need to, suffice to a larger, what's it called when somebody like somebody who's backing us or anything like that. This is very much community based, and which is why we encourage collaboration as much as possible. And so perfect segue for some of the events that we have coming up, that the doors only open because of collaboration and the work that we've done within the community throughout the past years. I mean, we've been able to really tap into so many different resources, right? Even with the comedy shows, and us being able to target other demographic to get them to come to the comedy shows.
Make everybody feel included.
Everybody feel included. And I just think it's such a testament to word of mouth, small business, supporting small business, and us being able to come out of our comfort zone and show up to things that we typically wouldn't show up to, and have the conversation. I mean, today was like everybody stood up and introduced themselves, like, but it was so much more relaxed, because you get to that place. Like
everybody's like, oh, we all get it.
Yeah. And one of the ladies had came up, she goes, I just got this new position, and I'm used to working behind the scenes. I was freaking out when I had to stand up. And I was like, you did fine. We had Victoria with us at our table, and she stood up, and I could tell she was a little. And then she said, she was like, got through that, and then so it was great. I'm rambling a little bit, but I would really like to get some info out about the upcoming comedy show.
Okay.
On who's coming, what it is, what's the so-called theme.
All right. Well, first of all, WMB1 Comedy Series has been operating, I don't know, Brian, 6 or 7 years, longer than that. It was before COVID, and then we had to take a break. But since COVID, we found our footing. We found out what works, what doesn't work. And echoing some of the things you said, because of our networking and people know our faces and they trust us and they know we're going to put out a quality product, we don't do the cookie cutter stuff like some of the other advertising firms and stuff that you said. We can cater something to the people we're trying to reach. And that's what makes WMB1 more effective. Our personal relationships, pre-recorded commercials, live mentions. People check for us now to see what we're doing. So the comedy show, we're on a monthly basis. We do about 10 shows a year. And because we're a Black and Latino owned station, we wanted to tap into both sides. So, it just came up. We were like, hey, Hispanic Heritage Month is September to October. Why don't we cater our comedy show to celebrate the Latino talent that we have, that we're already working with? We're not changing a thing. It's going to be the same comedy show. There might be a little bit more emphasis on some of the Puerto Rican and Dominican and some of the other cultures, jokes, because they'll have that background, but it's not going to stray from the meat and potatoes of what we bring. If you've never been, all we ask is that you give us a chance. Everything's not for everybody, but I've had people that say, I've been to every comedy show that's out there. You haven't been to ours. When people come, they usually come back. And that's a great feeling. It's good when I'm out with Brian somewhere and they say, hey, you guys, you do the comedy shows. I'm like, who's that? You know?
They got
You
the
know?
shows have a following.
Yeah.
Shout out to the people that have been there since 6 years ago.
Yeah, when we started off with
yeah.
a little bit of people and trying to figure out what works and doesn't work.
Yeah.
But this one, we got a couple of themes coming up that are going to build right off each other because we're going to do the Hispanic Heritage Month. We got Roberto Vanderpool, Dominican comedian.
Mm-hmm.
He's on tour and he's the feature artist for Tracy Morgan. He's the last guy you see before Tracy Morgan comes on stage. He is hilarious. He was in The Last OG. He was in the movie Cookout. He's a very humble guy. He's funny as heck. He's the perfect headliner for this event. We couldn't have picked another one. Then we had somebody that we're bringing back, and Vaughn had said, I liked Black Rose. Say no more. Black Rose. You're on. Didn't even ask her. Black Rose, you're going to be there September 4th, Friday, September 4th at the Vault.
So funny.
She was like, oh my God. And she feels bad because people were taking pictures and she thought somebody was giving her the light. So she entered her. And everybody was like, why did she get off? She was doing so good. She goes, I thought somebody gave me the light, which in the comedy world means, hey, wrap it up so the next person can go on.
I didn't take a picture with her. This time I want to.
And
Yeah.
she's
And
hilarious.
Will.
So, and the other thing that makes our comedy shows really successful is the venue we're at now. We're working with Michelle Pimento, the owner of the Vault. She's opened her doors to us, not only for the comedy shows, but for some of the other events we're going to talk about. Anything we want to do, she's more than willing to have us in there. And every event we've done over there has been pretty good. So she kind of likes to see us coming. But we're not only promoting our event, we're also promoting her venue. So there's a lot more people asking to do events down there. And she supports us in every way possible. I mean, they got a professional stage, professional lighting. We just finished talking before we went on air about the professional sound guy that made your event so good.
Yeah.
You know, like
Shout out
when we don't
Brandon.
exactly know, you know, what's going on. We know how to deliver the package, but the fine tuning behind the scenes, sometimes that gets watered down. So we're looking forward to the September 4th event at the Vault, downtown New Bedford. Roberto Vanderpool, Black Rose, and our host Chris Tabb. But just to throw a little nugget out there, every October, and we didn't get to do it last year for the first time in like 4 or 5 years because we were in between venues, the Cancer Awareness Show. So all female lineup that supports women struggling with breast cancer, but we made it into all cancer.
Yes.
And we all have family and friends that are involved. There's no better feeling than when you can give somebody free tickets to a show just to make them smile for that day. Or if we raise money and we can, you know, the people that are struggling with hair loss from chemotherapy, you know, help them get a wig or give out gift certificates from some of our supporting businesses that they might not be able to afford because they're medicine. I love that feeling of, we can't solve all your problems, but if we can make you smile for a couple of hours and take your mind off
That's
it,
what it's about.
that I love that. So I like going from the Hispanic Heritage Celebration right into the breast cancer. Those are two things that I hold near and dear, and I feel proud to have a part in that. But that's opened the doors for events like, you want to tell us what we just did?
And before I get into what happened this past Sunday, the point you're further making or I'm feeling is that the radio station is very family oriented and community oriented. So I feel like every production we put on, whether it's small event, big event, podcast, you are seeing people who are really utilizing their full being. Like, I think that's also what attracts people coming back, is there's an authenticity to our programming that feels like, oh, I went to the comedy show for the first time and saw half of my family already going there. Like, New Bedford is so uniquely and tightly knit that it would be nonsense to not have this element of community and telling our stories. Like, I just feel like everything we do under this umbrella is very authentic to who we are as a culture, as a people, as a close-knit community. The comedy shows are absolutely that. Some of the events we've even had here, the podcast we do,
Big Lux event.
And the Big Lux event that's
a whole
coming
bunch of
up.
variety of stuff.
And even when we pull in acts from outside of New Bedford who are introduced to New Bedford and get to feel that,
They want to come
say, when can I come back? And I just got a call literally today from someone who performed Sunday who wants to come back from Connecticut. So speaking of Sunday, we as a team, I as a host and a grieving daughter put on a tribute to my father, Carlton Pina. The event was called Sound Legacy. It was in remembrance of Dad's music legacy. My father was the musical director for Tavares since he was probably too young to even be in the clubs he was playing in. But he also just had a long life of music and connection and community. So KG Express performed, Tiny Tavares, Ilario Burgo and Dr. David Spencer, Candida Rose, Darlene Andrade, Earl White, Angela Middleton, and Kenny Hamburg coming all the way down from Connecticut. And I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone, but I don't think I am. They came and they gave their heart literally through the music.
Angela,
I mentioned.
I didn't know.
And Angela is also part of KG Express, but Kevin Gomes and Tony Simmons. So shout out to them. But, it's one thing to put on an event and hope the event is going to be successful. It's a very multi-layered thing when it's so personal and intimate, which we are facing up to almost 3 years of my father's passing. And so you can imagine the multitude of emotions and things that we as a family had to process. Thank God for working on a team who kept me centered in that process, because the grief could have taken over, right? And then you lose sight of the programming of the event. But here's what we do well is we set foundation really well at the station. And so when it is an emotional moment, when there is time to drop your shoulders, you can really do that because there's trust established. Steve and Margarita, shout out to them. They were holding down the tickets. That door was.
Oh, Margarita came to the door when I was overwhelmed, and that saved my life because they were coming in droves.
Yeah, they were coming in droves, and Margarita was walking people to their tables. Yeah. Margarita stood up and spoke on me and my family's behalf as a family friend. All the ladies were in the house. It was just a beautiful indication of what legacy looks like when you've lived your life right. That almost got me in my throat. Y'all trying to make me cry, but I'm not going to do it. I am elated. I'm still very much on the high of Sunday. Yeah. One thing was very apparent. We sold out that joint, and it's just going to need double the space and the people and all of the efforts come next year. I try to be humble about it because I didn't know what to expect, but it
started small scale just to do a tribute, and everybody wanted to be involved.
It grew super fast, and I had the privilege of hosting it
and performing. Don't underestimate that.
So let's talk about that.
That was beautiful.
For those who probably now know, because I'm kind of a little bit more out there, I've been a spoken word poet for quite some time, since probably my high school days. Of course, life gets busy. You get children. You become a wife. All the things. And so some of those parts of us become dormant. We think they became dead, but they're actually just waiting for you to say, what's up? Yep. And so through part of my grief process, I was able to kind of step back out on the scene in New Bedford. Kind of started out with the Zyterian spoken, their jazz jams they were doing during AHA night. And just started to kind of blossom again from that. That was all grief driven though. And so through that and other people in the family seeing that I was willing to kind of embrace what my grief was doing through me, myself, my brother Carlton J. Pina, and my cousin Matthew Antunes, the son of Michael Antunes, saxophonist for the Beaver Brown Band, and John Cafferty, they got on stage with me for the first time. And we did the damn thing. And it was bigger than a performance. It was a process of healing. And so I tend to be emotional all the time, and I'm not going to get too emotional, but I think people downplay what creativity, what being on the right team, what moving in the right spirit really can do for people. That we use entertainment oftentimes as like this bridge, at least I do, this bridge to the bigger matters. And music for my family, art for my family, creativity, building with the right people, having the right people in your circle really has been the greatest benefit to getting through some shit. And so I'm on a train to wherever this thing's going to take me. But thank you to everyone who was involved in the production of it, who opened their hearts, who trusted me with their grief. Sunday was beautiful. Brian DJ'd. Brian held it down, always sets the tone. Brian, let's shout out Brian real quick because Brian had a double booking. Okay, I'm gonna
Two
shout my
places
brother
at
out.
once.
Yeah.
Brian's behind the camera, but Brian holds down
Yeah.
one of the most infamous day parties out here in New Bedford at Port Royale, the Darties. Brian went from my event that I'm sure had layers of emotion for him, and he set the tone over at Port. So we all ended up over there. Shout out to Ramon and Yamadi. Sunday was, I can't explain it. If you wasn't there, please be there next time because you really missed out on a real shift in atmosphere.
Both those events were feel good.
Oh,
I did not
Man.
want Sunday to end. I was
I know,
exhausted,
yeah,
felt
yeah.
like I was being antisocial, but I was
Yeah.
just tired because
Yeah.
it started off Thursday with the Cape Verdean game, going to bar, and we were going all week,
Yeah.
and then it culminated Sunday. I've never been part of an event where there was such good energy. I really, really respect what you were able to do on Sunday and the people who contributed, the people that were there. Everybody had a kind word. Everybody was like, every entertainer killed what they did. It was such a feel-good situation. And then to see your mom with Tiny and everything like that, and then to go from there on that high and barely be able to get into the Dottie. Luckily, Brian had AIB mags over there to start it off until the original got over there and picked it up. I walked in, my glasses fogged up, I couldn't see nobody.
Not Skip being AI Brian.
Yeah. You know, the word of AI, you never know what's real. So we set up, you know. But both those events on the same day were just two events that just, if you could say, make my heart smile, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
Like, I was smiling, and even though I
Yes.
selfishly say, I know it was meant for another reason, but I enjoyed it as like your success was making me happy.
Yeah.
And the entertainment was filling me with good energy. Like, if you couldn't be happy and full of life during that night, and then it
Right.
carried right over.
Yeah. Right.
And then it carried over to the Dottie. Next thing I know, it's Brian was supposed to DJ till 8. It's 9:30. I was like, I'm supposed to be in my second dream. But both those events on the same day, kudos to the team.
Let me say something. I knew the Darty. I said we got to get out of here. I saw Diana and Xiomara. I said we got to go. I can't do this. We got to get out of here. This is getting too much.
I think I might have missed
Such
two
a
other
good
people
time.
I just want to shout out. Kenny Hamber, I'm not sure I mentioned you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Gigged with Dad back in the 70s under the Hitchhikers. Came down from Connecticut. The man is 82 years old,
82.
and he ain't missed a daggone
That
beat.
voice was
Okay.
powerful, went through me.
And also one that we didn't even have on the roster, but the spirit moved him on stage, and I'm so glad it did. Antone Tavaz,
Yeah, he
son
came
of the
out,
late
yeah.
great Chubby Tavaz. Antone came and did a series of Tavaz songs, and I never wanted it to end.
Mhm.
So again, shout out to y'all. Because them two also their
I like
their
the
talent.
shirt.
Yeah,
It was
he's a
nice.
stylish
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
like his
yeah.
daddy.
Yeah.
You know. So it's New Bedford, y'all. I'm telling you, we got something real
I
special.
like that
out
name,
here.
We
Secret
do.
City.
Okay, and we always have.
Yeah.
And I
Let's
think
talk about
that's where people get it twisted. So when we talk about the culture and you talk about you know, you want to single out certain people and say, well, I bring the culture, cut all that BS out. The why this formula works is because we are all seasoned individuals within this community. We've experienced different levels of this community. We've grown in this community, but we are also unselfish. You know, we check our egos at the door and we come in here and it's a real collaborative teamwork effort. And we don't shy away from working with anyone. And I think that's the part for us where we're kind of like, yeah, we understand the value in the actual individual. Whoever it is that wants to come and work with us, we give them a listening ear. If it's something that we can make work, great. If it's not, then we do have the flexibility to say, we know somebody who it will work for.
Yeah.
And we're not shy about that. You know, we're not shy. If we got to send somebody down the street, across the street, up the street, we're fine with it. It doesn't bother us at all. And I think that's the part where in this community, sometimes that gets blurred.
Mhm.
And people have this misconception of they're the only ones who are doing one particular thing. And that's just simply not true. I mean, we have some individuals who've worked in the nonprofit for a long time. I've worked I've been on multiple boards, and when there's 1,000,001 nonprofits that all do the same thing. Okay. And they fight for the same funding and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I've always said to myself, God, if they all would just come together, what work could get done? And I think the beautiful part about the station is that we bring all these different people from all these different walks, and we come together and we get it done, and we get it done right. And our thing is, Brian and I always talk about slow and steady wins the race. And this has not been a fast process for us to get here to where we're at. It has been a slow and steady. And there were times when Brian and I would talk and we said, we got to tell Steve we can't do the comedy shows anymore. This is ridiculous. And that, blah, blah, right? Right? We've had those conversations. It's a learning curve. And it's a learning curve, but it's also like slow and steady. That's the only thing that's keeping us alive. And many times, if it wasn't for Steve, and Brian knows this too, if it wasn't for Steve, people wouldn't know what about the radio station. And so those are the things. It's understanding the value of your team members, understanding the value of family members, because I say we're family now, you know, it's understanding the value in each individual. And I just say that to say the other minutia that happens outside of these beautiful walls, we stay out of it because it doesn't mean much to us. But I will say this, we are cultured very much. We understand the culture. We are each individually the culture. So if anybody has, you know what I mean, any qualms about that, the door's always open for you to collaborate with us and
we want to grow the culture. Yeah, we're not happy with where it is.
No,
we weren't welcome in some of these venues.
Yeah.
So to have the radio station as a format to be able and venues that'll welcome us in, we want to grow it. And I'm tired of, no disrespect to Boston and Providence, why can't people come to New Bedford?
Yeah,
we can do stuff where we can stay home.
Yeah,
and we don't have to travel an hour to Boston. We don't have to go to Providence. We don't have to go. We can do things now in New Bedford that people can feel proud of.
We can, and I think that's the thing that people don't really realize. And I'm going to bring up a very controversial topic, and it's the Zeiterion, in where the history of the Zeiterion hasn't always been the best to our community. And I'm going to say that it still has a lot more work to do. But we have had the honor of working with Blair Taylor at the Zeiterion, who was specifically brought on board to help with that. Okay? She was specifically brought on to help with that. And we have had the honor of working with Blair and collaborating with her on a multiple amount of events. And because of that, we had the honor of sponsoring the Newbie at the Z event. And these are artists that, you know, maybe they're not somebody's cup of tea, right? But they were fearless. They weren't scared to cross the line with us. They weren't scared of what the backlash might be. They weren't scared of, getting in front of people who typically wouldn't be their regular audience, you know, and they took a chance. They took a risk and delivered. And so did we. And the symbolism of that night was so that any artist here, any local artist within this community can see that stage and say, they got on there, I could get on there too. And I think that is the symbolism of it. That's our Madison Square Garden. That's the Zeiterion is our Madison Square Garden. And that's what it means. And you have to be able to look at the bigger picture. And yes, things happened in the past and we should recognize those and we put things in place so that they don't happen again. But moving forward, how do we continue to open up those doors for all of these artists and these young kids who grow up in this community, who have these aspirations to be stars and to get up there and say, I can be on that stage, you know, and this is a part of it. And this is what moving that needle looks like, you know? So I encourage people to just kind of look at things from other perspectives. That wasn't something that happened overnight. This was a conversation that happened with city councilors. It's a conversation that happened with other community leaders. There's a conversation that happened with the admin at the Z. These are conversations that were cultivated throughout, I think, at least a year in advance to get this going. And so, you know, we are happy to have been able to, I'm going to say arguably facilitate some of those conversations and be able to move that needle. You know, I wanted to take that opportunity to mention this because I think it needs to be said. And we have this, there's so many people that say so many things, and, you know, I don't want to do ageism, but we're a lot older. We're part of a different generation. So for us, it's like we stay out of a lot of the fray of the things that, you know, are said or go on and everything like that. But I would really want people to encourage the thought process of how do we move forward, right? We know what happened, but how do we become more solution based and say, how do we fix this? What do we do? And what role can we play? And it doesn't have to be some grand gesture or anything like that, but you know, we're fortunate enough to be a small part of moving that needle forward towards more positive energy when it comes to
Yeah, we just
you know,
want to see
those
that
types of
venue become more
collaborations.
accessible to
Mhm.
a multitude of cultures.
Yeah.
For a long time, they've done it, but they're listening now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like you said, that was a big getting Blair in there.
Yeah.
She's only one person.
Mhm.
She's influencing them. She's
Mhm.
chipping away,
Mhm.
and they're starting to listen a little more. Like you said with the radio station,
Mhm.
it was a slow race.
Mhm.
It wasn't a sprint. It took a while to get there. Sometimes we can't get patient. I'm the most impatient person there is.
Mhm.
Because when I get something in my mind, it's like motor starts running and like,
Yeah.
we gotta go get it while it's there. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to pull back the reins, but we see opportunity developing. Blair being over there, the event that you did, and now they're listening to, you know, set up future conversations where we can maybe have
Yeah.
future events
Mhm.
pop off over there.
And,
So
and if I can speak on observation of Blair's entry into New Bedford and how she played that out. Blair took her time in learning culture and the people before she came with what her preconceived notion was of how she was going to do a job.
Mhm.
She got hired to do a job. In my opinion, she has superseded that probably in year one.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
But what she learned to do was remain a student. And there's a lot of times where we forget that even though we know something, we don't know everything. And a lot of people move on their narrative, not on the actuality of conversations and getting clarity.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to have the conversation because they don't want to have to admit that maybe I was wrong, or maybe there is several other ways outside of mine to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think ego and inability to really communicate, to understand, not to come out right, is a skill that unfortunately our small community often lacks. And so knowing Blair and knowing how patient she was, although very eager, Steve, to get into the work,
Mhm.
was like, wait. I'm from another place.
Mhm.
Let me learn the people. Cape Verdean, what's a Cape Verdean? I don't know these folk. And she
Mhm.
learned real quick what a Cape Verdean
Culture, the
was.
food, the
And that
music.
mortar beza hit her quick. But yet she understood that, wait, there's been relationships and dynamics that have been instilled in this
Mhm.
community way before my time and a lot of our own time. And so for the people that remain students to the craft, those are the people that are able to build longevity. It does not matter how long that you've held a title or a position. What I question is, who did you become in order to hold it? And how long did you being that person be able to hold that position?
Mhm.
A resume don't say nothing but you had that title for a day.
Yeah.
But my thing is, what type of people are coming out of the work that's being done here? And that's for the whole community, not just those of us who are doing the work. But what did it really take? And who did you become while doing the work? So that's the piggyback Margarita's point. I
Mhm.
think a lot of us are so passionate about what we do that we forget that life is moving fast and times are changing.
Mhm.
So the way that you once did that thing 10 years ago is not the effective way to do that thing now.
Period.
And
yeah.
the population
change.
has changed.
Mhm.
Same faces, same names, different circumstances. And so I just encourage people out here that really want to stay in the field and do the good work, learn to become a student again. Because, man, that ego out here really can get ugly, and it
Yeah.
really can put narratives out there in public that are so not true. And I'm a true believer that two truths can't exist at the same time.
Mhm.
That the way I see this can in front of me and what I see is different than what Margarita's seeing on her side. Same can, different angle.
Mhm.
And I think people really just need to,
But we
Take
both
a
agree
pause.
it's empty though.
but we both it's almost empty.
For promotional
But yeah,
purposes
like
only.
I'm passionate about that.
Yeah.
I really care about people. I don't care about what you're doing. I care about how you're doing it. and who you're becoming while you're doing it. And I just see a lot of misaligned spirit out here and energy out here that I don't think really has to be that. I don't
it's a
think
lot
it
of
has
hide
to
your
be
kids,
that.
hide your wives situations, and I'm like, what are we doing here, really?
She took
No, I'm
it
just
back.
saying,
No,
right?
I
It
know,
really
I know.
is. It's like, wow, what does that even mean? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know, so I do think it's as you know, stewards of life and art, faith and things like that. Like you're always evolving
Yeah.
into new people, right? And I think that so long as you let your guard down and you really try to strive to be a better person than you were yesterday, you know, then it makes a difference. You know what I mean?
Regardless of
I
what you
didn't,
do.
regardless of what you do. It's
Mhm.
just like, it's such a huge, if you just get your ego out the way. I remember, you know, my father said, nobody got anywhere without a helping hand. You need people. People need one another in order for you to go places, in order for you to grow. You need one another. You have to learn from one another. So yeah, we on the same page, because you know we was trying to, you know. Can I just give a shout out to who
comments?
is that? Yes, who said is it? What? I'm Cape Verdean. I'm gonna come to Providence and I'm not going to New Bedford. Who's that?
That's all right. That's all right. You don't have to.
What's that say?
No
Your neck
problem.
entertainment. Is that what that is?
Unique.
Oh, unique.
And then it's unique entertainment.
Unique entertainment.
What
Shout
they
out
say-
to you. They said they wanted a shout out. Shout out to you, Unique Entertainment. Yes, this is really live. If you want to collaborate, you're gonna have to come to New Bedford. Shout out to Fresco. We see you.
DJ Fresco.
Yeah.
We're gonna see you soon, brother. 21st.
Yep, he has
Yeah.
an event.
He got
and
something
DJ
cooking over at
Yeah.
the Vote.
Polo and sundresses.
I know,
Sayonara,
but I
shout out.
mean, God bless them. I just can't make that one. That's too late. It's past my bedtime. Way past my bedtime. But you know, we have all kinds of exciting things that continue to happen here at the radio station. I encourage everybody to give us a follow, a like, a share. Follow Brian individually.
to the
Follow,
events.
come to the events. Follow Steve's page, follow WMB1 Radio's page, Jamie Lynn, mine, Xiomara, Val Marie. We all have all kinds of things going on. And also want to encourage people to join the South Coast Hispanic Chamber. Just because you're not Latino doesn't mean you can't join.
Mhm.
You can join the chamber, utilize the resources. When you talk about the Unique Entertainment says they're the largest Cape Verdean thing. You need help, you need resources, join the Hispanic Chamber. All right. You need, you got a small business, you need to know how to do certain things, you need marketing help, everything. Contact South Coast Hispanic Chamber. They'll be there. They're a resource. Get with it. That's all I got. I don't know if you guys got
Thank
anything
you.
else you want to show.
Well, I just want to say, talking about the Latino community, we're in August, and Hispanic Heritage Month is coming right around the corner. But I want to take this opportunity to remind people that Hispanic culture doesn't only exist between September 15th and October 15th. So I encourage you to just thank you. I encourage you to look into some of our culture, look into Latino owned businesses, and start that now. It's year round, you know. I don't magically
It don't
turn
change.
Latino October 16th, you know what I mean? So just a reminder, so and everybody that reaches out, because around this time I get a lot of people wanting to do collaborations. I encourage you to do collaborations outside of Hispanic Heritage Month, because that is really the goal, right? We want to be thought of year round, not just for a month. Although I take like full September and full October, you ain't going to give me just 30 days, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. We have
Great
some
point.
good things cooking up. Like I cannot say right now.
Yeah,
But there's
exciting. You
something
can't let it out
very
just
exciting.
yet.
Can't let
It's
it out
exciting.
yet,
Mhm.
but things are coming.
I think that's it. Yeah, stay tuned. WMB1 Radio, we're here for your listening entertainment. Don't forget, tonight is Brian, what do we got? Salsa merengue going on? Is this Wednesday nights?
Yes, it's the best of both worlds. So we've got house music on from 6 to 8, and then 8 to 10 we've got a new DJ. Well, he's not new. He's been here before. He will be DJing 8 to 10 with Salsa Merengue.
Mhm.
So make sure you tune in. He will be on from 8 to 10.
Mhm.
All right, so make sure you tune in to him as well. All right,
Mhm.
tonight.
Get the app. Get the
Mhm.
app. Get the app.
yes.
Yeah, available on
Download the
all platforms. All right,
Mhm.
wherever you get your apps from, WMB1 Radio is available.
Y'all heard him.
All right, y'all.